Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Rant Mode. A lot of this is going to be pertaining to wrestling. There might be one or two minor things I'm just going to throw in here, but I had to get in front of a camera or something, and I had to vent. And I was making a claim earlier during a conversation today that it's healthy to a degree to vent. Just holding stuff in may not be that healthy. But yeah, getting into it, I'm just going to start off by saying right now, WWE, you have, or WWE, yeah, how do you screw that up, first of all? How do you screw that up, Trips? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, after the constant plugins, maybe it was just him getting tongue-tied, or, I don't know, but that was just silly. But anyway, what's going on? Just for weeks now, just the ridiculous plugins to the network. Whatever. If this is free advertising, I don't understand why. I mean, you can spend all this money on the developmental territory, as well as promoting your DVDs, but you can't just rely solely on commercials. The COO and the chief executive operator, as well as anyone else who is with the authority, they have to plug it in. They're now telling their main stars to plug it in. They're having people come back for panels that are retired to plug it in. The announce team can't shut up about it. Like, it's not. This is no longer Monday Night Raw. It feels like I'm watching a 3-hour telemarketing show where it's telling you get the WWE network. It's annoying. It's extremely annoying. Anyone watching the product knows what it is. Okay? If new people watching, save it for a commercial. Or clever product placement. Okay? There's no need to have to throw it in every segment. And with the announcers again, they're saying it way too much. Way too much for my personal taste. It's unnecessary to have to pop it in nearly every single time they open their mouth. It's bad enough all three announcers are terrible. Alright? But it's getting ridiculous. I want to watch wrestling, and when every Raw now is at least 3 hours, and I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say 5 minutes, 3 hours and 5 minutes long, and there's only I don't think there has been any more than 45 minutes of wrestling on camera wrestling, not talking, not promo, not doing a spot that's not wrestling related, but actual in-ring wrestling is like a 180-minute show, 45 minutes. That's why I think it shouldn't be a 3-hour show. But whatever. People will disagree, and if you disagree, let me know. This is just my biased opinion. You're clear to have your own. Don't feel like I'm trying to force feed you my opinion. I'm not. Next. Then there were these ridiculous announcements. Michael Sam is gonna be at Raw next week. We invited Michael Sam. Just why? If there's one thing I love as much as wrestling, if not more, it has got to be football. I love football. I play fantasy football. I have people over every single week watching the games. The Super Bowl is a huge party in my home. And I have to ask the question, why would you bring a player who has, again, and I'm not going to get into the next, anyway, let me just get into it. I'm losing track of thought. The reason why that bugs me so much is that there are so many players they could have invited. They could have invited Peyton Manning, Ray Rice, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Greg Jennings, and these are just to name a few off the top of my head. But Michael Sam, the player who got cut from the St. Louis Rams last week. Hold on, I know why. Some of you are not going to like hearing this. Would it be because he's the very first openly gay player in the NFL? And to which I say, who cares? Really, who cares? Obviously, this is a publicity stunt. That's the only reason for this. He got cut by the Rams. It's a Cinderella story or something. I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. Whatever. I've never personally looked up any of his stats. He was cut by the St. Louis Rams. If not early last weekend, it was sometime late last week. I've never followed his career. All I know is that he's the very first openly gay player. Blah blah blah. Whatever. You know, I'm not going to get into my position on that because that's irrelevant for this video. But I will say this. Having him on the show is a slap in the face to NFL fans, as well as it's probably a slap in the face to anyone who is of that sexual orientation as well with him. Because it's like, why all of a sudden? It's almost like when Darren Young came out in the WWE, like for a few weeks to a month, it felt like he was getting a very unnecessary push, and then he kind of just fizzled right out. You know, I don't know. Again, I may be wrong. I apologize if it seems like I'm coming off as rude or hateful. I have nothing against Michael Sam. I'm sure he's a very nice guy. Again, I've never followed his football career, but to forcibly have an NFL player who doesn't even have a team right now, this is his first season in the NFL. He was just drafted. He hasn't really proved himself. He's not a very recognizable talent either. Like if it was Johnny Manziel, I guess I could understand, but it's Michael Sam. He's not someone that's really stuck out. And just to have him invited to Raw, all I gotta think is just PR. Just PR. Oh, he's so brave. He's whatever. If that's their plan, all I can say is, for their sake, hopefully it works out well for them. Otherwise, the backlash is not going to be. It is going to be very unpleasant. And already most writers now are saying that it feels very awkward because they're trying to like, why, you know, why. Next thing I really wanted to get into, still also on wrestling, the character of Roman Reigns. I'm getting a little nervous. They're not. I don't feel like they're working with him enough. He needs more of an identity. You know, him coming through the side of the crowd. That was cool when it was the Shield. It was kind of cool when he did his own thing. He still has that entrance. He still has the same music. He still has the same get up with like some minor color variances. I think it's time to start making him his own person. And I think in his case, he needs his in-ring work. I think is progressively getting better, slowly but better. But he needs to get off the microphone. He needs to be more like Sting after he did his little crow transformation. Less is more in that situation. I think if he were to do that and be like, you know, like the silent mercenary or something, that would be awesome. Just less is more. Because every time he opens his mouth, it's almost funny. Like the whole hair trigger comments and where he was trying to turn the whole $9.99 plug as like a joke. And it's just, you know, whatever. I think he has the possibility of becoming a fantastic talent, but right now it feels like they're kind of molding him into a John Cena 2.0, and it's just not going to work in his case. So yeah. Last night's Raw, I felt it was very underwhelming. There was a lot of things they could have done better, but I'll leave that all up to interpretation. So, yeah. Just all sorts of goodness. So let me know what you think about all that. You know, comment below. Tell me what you think. You know, the whole point of Rant Mode is me just going off in a weird way as far as like what's going on in my opinion to it, and it can be various different things. One last thing, and I'm gonna make this really brief. I will say this. As far as, and going into video games now, as far as games for Gold and PlayStation Plus, Microsoft, you really need to step your game up. You're borderline getting crushed every single month. The last 2 months weren't that bad because you had an A+ title in there. I think in August, toward the end, they had Dishonored. I played Dishonored. It's a good game. I would love to play it fully all the way through instead of only a couple hours in. I really want to get into it. It looks fantastic. But this month, the lineup looks terrible. So, yeah, that's really all I had on that. I really think if Microsoft, if you really want to stick it to Sony, I mean, you need to start doing like a free game every single week. Or if you're not going to do that, at least make your 2 games like big games. You know, I'll give you, for instance, and some of you will heavily disagree and be like, oh, they need to make money too. Imagine having a game like Castle Crashers or Spelunky or an indie developed game like that and you had it for free. Or, I don't know, massively underpriced at least. Like, just do like an indie developer sale where all these great games are like $1 or $2 a piece. I guarantee you, people will be all over that. PlayStation Plus has multiple games constantly. Like they have the content. They have the content right now. They definitely do. There's no doubt about that. But right now they're struggling because the PS4 library isn't really that decent, whereas the Xbox One I think is pretty much the same. That's why I hesitate from getting the newer consoles because the beginning libraries aren't really that good. With like the exception of maybe PlayStation 2. Actually, I think the original PlayStation wasn't that bad either. But neither new console has a very thrilling library, so free games is a good way to go. It gets people interested, but at the same time, if you're not going to deliver the goods, then you might as well just not even do it. I'm already feeling better. So yeah, let me know what you think. And like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your opinions on some of this stuff, and I will see you all